Hey everybody, Jimmy with the Triple C Collective here for another Superhero Saturday for the season finale of She Hulk, Episode 9. Whose show is this? Gotta say, love She Hulk. This entire season has been a lot of fun. It's been really great. As someone who doesn't really know much about She-Hulk, like I say, I like it was Spider-Man, Wolverine, and just various X-Men people. Is who I really have like known and always like kind of followed in comics and whatnot for like the Marvel stuff. So like a lot of this stuff that I've been seeing for the better part of a decade has all been a lot of stuff that I don't really know a lot about or characters I don't know a lot about. And so like it's just been fun seeing this stuff. She-Hulk has been awesome. I have found it extremely funny. It is also one of the first Marvel shows that like my wife has been actively like ready to watch with me weekly and stuff as well. So like that's been like really great. That it's like drawn her in as well, somebody who is a more casual fan of it, of like the MCU and stuff. So like that's really cool. It's been a lot of fun being able to watch it with her because she finds it extremely funny, and I may even enjoy this show more because of when I watch it with my wife. But here we are for episode 9. I gotta say, like, I like it a lot. I don't want to give too much away about the series or anything or the season finale, so let's go ahead and just dive on into it. And so the opening credits were great, calling her the Savage She Hulk and having her be the like doing the nod to the original like Lou Ferrigno Incredible Hulk series. Like it was great because like they've definitely played with the title sequences and stuff. Like when Titania was there, it was like She Hulk presented by Titania. When they were doing the Just Jen and stuff, and like so it was cool. It was cool to see this. It was great that they finally gave the Incredible Hulk show like a nod. Um, again, they didn't need to like do a huge shout out or anything to it, but it was like really cool that they did. I mean, just like in the MCU with the Incredible Hulk movie, Lou Ferrigno shows up in it as well as like a security guard. It's great, you know. But this title sequence is phenomenal. It's like shot for shot, just like what they did in like the original series and stuff. It's awesome. But Jen wakes up in the cell, more or less, that Emil Blonsky was in at the beginning of the season, so that was really interesting. Um, to see how those roles were reversed. She's startled awake from the opening title sequence dream. We get Nikki, Mallory, and Pug showing up. Pug's like, I stayed really calm because I was calling the Incredible Hulk. Mallory is like, or like Jen's like, I got to figure out the next steps in my case. I've got to, countersue. Excuse me. Got to countersue these people for like invasion of privacy and all that kind of stuff. Find out who is running intelligentsia, all of it, who Hulk King is. And Mallory's like, whoa, we got to worry about your case first. And they're like, what do you mean? And Jen's like, what do you mean? Like, well, the reaction you had, like, I was angry. I reacted like anyone else. And they were like, no, they saw a Savage Hulk, you know, running around there being mad and angry, or at least that's what all the witnesses are saying. And this is exactly what, like, again, like Bruce said, was like the downside of like being a Hulk. Like once they see you as a monster, they're always going to see you as a monster. This is that like breaking moment for her. Mallory's like they bait the one of the thing during this like back and forth. What are we going to do? Is like when Mallory is like they baited you and you took it. Um, they that was really good. I really like that. I really liked Mallory's delivery of that. But then they, again, Mallory lets her know, there is a plea deal for you. And, what are the terms? The terms are she can't be She-Hulk anymore. So then it's what I called in my notes here, the montage of loss. She loses her She-Hulk ability. She gets that little inhibitor put on her. We see her out of prison. That's the only gain she really gets. But she's cleaning out her office. Nikki's like, I took all the food, put it into your car and whatnot, but I am going to continue to work here because they pay me very well. And Jen's like, I don't blame you. Why would you leave? It wouldn't make sense. And then we get the news montage of saying she lost her, saying she lost her ability to be She-Hulk. Everyone saw her as like unstable, and then they're hiding outside of her house. She has dinner at her parents'. There's the loss of her apartment, and then she moves back with her parents. And when she's back with her parents, it's really interesting because her mom's like, yeah, they're like, yeah, you can move back with us. Her mom's like, yeah, but I moved my exercise equipment into your room, so I work out every day at 7 a.m. You should join me. God, I both love and hate her mom. But her mom is like, yeah, you can come join me for, working out and all that stuff. And Jen's like, okay. Then Jen is in her mom and dad's living room. Nikki is there, and they're trying to break down Intelligentsia, how to figure it out, who they are. Jen knows that Intelligentsia is being run by like a bunch of shell companies. Her mom comes in and is like hovering and annoying. Then we get the Nikki sees on her phone that Dennis, we haven't seen that dummy, that bimbo, bozo in a while, and that's good because he sucked. But we see Dennis coming out saying like, oh yeah, Jen and I, we dated for a long time, and like she was crazy beforehand. I think it comes from like her grandmother or something. Like, oh god, it's awful. Jen breaks the fourth wall here, and it's like, this isn't even like a reluctant hero story. I'm just getting screwed. And then the narrator comes in, which is awesome, and she's like, no, narrator, we're not that off the rails yet. She texts Bruce, no service. Text Emil, no service. And then she's like, well, he did say I can come by whenever, so I'm gonna do that. And then she's still talking to the audience. I'm not running away from my problems or anything. This is a mental health break. Jen shows up at Blonsky's retreat resort place. The dude who attacked her, with his three dummies his three dummy friends, tried to beat her up in the alley. Is there, greets her. He's like, hey, welcome. Glad you can make it. And, it's like, I'll get a guest room and all of that stuff ready for you. And she's just really grateful of it. Pug and Nikki arrive at the Intelligentsia meeting. Now, just before this, Nikki puts up the video when Nikki was at Jen's house with her mom, looking into the Intelligentsia stuff. Jen's mom shows a video of Jen dancing like in college, and it's just her and her roommates just having fun. So Nikki puts that up on Intelligentsia. Hulk King IMs her, gives her a direct message saying like, hey, this is great, you should come to our next meeting, like, bro. And then Nikki's like, oh, he thinks I'm a dude, I need Pug. So she goes and runs and grabs Pug. Pug and Nikki show up here, and it's great. Like, they're going to the Hulk King meeting, and Pug's like, I can't do this. Don't you think it's gonna be weird that I'm walking in with like an earbud in? And Nikki's like, no, everyone's gonna have one, or a bunch of people in there will have one. That it won't look weird at all for you. And then they get in there. Pug tries to join a conversation. He walks away. He talks, and then Todd is there. And this is just an insane, crazy, toxic group of dudes. Like, they are just loco. Todd calls Pug hot. Another guy says he wants to smash Pug. Todd gives like Pug like this big like handshake, like he's awesome. He's the best. He used to work with She-Hulk. She totally slept with Holloway and stuff. Pug is through his earpiece is like Nikki knows how to play this game. Nikki knows how to play this game, and it's just feeding him all the great things that these dudes are just eating up. They're eating it up, and it's hilarious. It's like it's disgusting. It's hilarious how easily they are being played because they are disgusting and stupid. And oh man, is it good? It's super funny. So like that whole thing is going on. Pug insults like Jen, and like Todd's like, yeah, man, we're totally vibing. Then the phone dies. So Pug loses his connection to Nikki. And like that could be bad for Pug. That could be bad for a boy. Then the intelligentsia meeting continues. We find out that Todd is the Hulk King. He's the one who did intelligentsia, brought everyone there. He gets up there talking. He's like, yeah, we hacked She-Hulk's phone. We showed the world who she really is. And, we're just getting started. Jen leaves the retreat house or whatever after reading Blonsky's bad haikus, and starts looking for a meal at the lodge because there's a private event. Uh-oh. Ruggy. Abomination shows up. Walks in. He's the life coach for the evening. And he talks about everyone in the room seizing their goal and their potential, and like getting out of their unsatisfied place in the world. Jen walks in the middle of this meeting, and oh man. So Jen walks in, sees Emil. Emil does a really bad fake apology to her. Nikki comes crashing through the door. Todd gets a serum that basically gives him all the good stuff of the Hulk powers that his boys there or whatever synthesized. And yeah, it's wild. He takes it, starts hulking out. Todd admits that he started intelligentsia to like Jen. He sent Josh to hack your phone and steal your blood. And that's where he talks about synthesizing it. I had to earn my powers. You were just giving them. And like and Jen breaks the fourth wall. She's like, we aren't really doing this. Like, are we? Todd has a delayed reaction. Nothing's going on after he shot himself up with it. And he's like, what's going on? I thought we... And then he starts looking like Scrappy out of the live-action Scooby-Doo movie from like 2000 that like James Gunn and like stuff like wrote. Oh man. He just starts like blowing up a little bit bigger, and he's like, oh, bro. And like he's oh man, it's awesome. He's just an obnoxious like monster, and it's really 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 funny. He also does like, come at me, bro. We have Titania shows up, and she's like, "Is this?" And Jen breaks the fourth wall again, and she's like, "Is this just not like messy enough?" Hulk falls through the like ceiling, and is like, "Hey, you leave my cousin alone," because Jen at this point is being saved by Abomination put up on her shoulder. And she's like, "Wait, what? What's going on?" We get an Abomination v Hulk like little fight scene here. Jen's breaking the fourth wall again. None of these storyline. This is a mess. None of this story makes sense. Like, is this working for you? Then we get a Disney Plus Marvel only screen, which is awesome. This is one of the best fourth wall breaks. We have the tile for She-Hulk kicked out. We've got She-Hulk looking out, and then we see in the bottom, like 2 rows down from her, so in the 3rd row, I believe, we see the Marvel assembled. So she goes and breaks through that, and she goes in there, and then we follow her through on set of the assembled stuff, and then she's sneaking around like the Disney lot and tries to get to the She-Hulk production room, and they're in there, and they've got all of the episodes up there with their little note cards and bam, 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 all of that stuff up there, and she walks in, and one of the guy writers is like, "I think season 2 should be just an extended dream sequence," and then they're talking about She-Hulk production, and she's like, "What the hell kind of finale was that?" They're like, "Oh, we thought it was fun and kind of a twist." Yeah, a twist. She's like, "No, that like, well, what?" And they're like, "Well, certain things have to happen in, superhero stories, like, this." And then she was like, "Well, that has happened in every other superhero story. Why can't we do it our own way?" Like, and they were like, "Well, that's not what Kevin wants." And she's like, "Who's Kevin?" And they're like, "Oh, Kevin like is the one who like runs everything." And she's like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna go talk to Kevin." And they all laugh at her. No one talks to Kevin. You won't be able to get to him. One of them is like, "I will murder you before I allow you to talk to. I will murder you to protect Kevin." And she was like, "That's like really that's creepy going. Creepy going talk about like this like Kevin person here." So she goes, finds Kevin. She has to sign an NDA. The dude hangs up a phone, says She-Hulk is here to see Kevin, and hits an alarm. And she's like, "Why did I have to sign the NDA if you were going to do that anyway?" And he's like, "Everyone has to sign the NDA," which is like, it's very funny. That I think is like I think that's a joke for any actor that's ever auditioned for Marvel now. Like any actor, I think that's a joke for them. I think that's a joke for them. It's so good. And then we get why did I have to sign the NDA? We get some cool hallway fight scenes, and eventually She-Hulk gets to Kevin. And what she gets to is a room that is empty with an empty room, but the monitors or the TVs or whatever are playing all the different movies from the MCU shows and everything before it. And it's pretty great, and it's like we see all of it. Then we get introduced to Kevin, which is just a machine that has some like little robot arms. It kind of looks a little bit like that robot from the Borderlands game, and like Wall-E has like a little bit of a mix in kind of look. But it's also got like a head visor kind of thing, like a baseball cap, kind of like Kevin Feige. It's called KEVIN, which is Knowledge Enhanced Visual Interconnectivity Nexus. And Kevin's like, "What, were you just expecting a man?" And she's like, "Well, yeah, kind of." and she's still in her She-Hulk form, and Kevin's like, "Can you transform back to Jen? But wait, do it off screen, do it now." And then she comes back. She's that. It's like really funny. This is a great little bit. But they go back and forth about the show, who owns the show, who runs the show, that kind of thing. And you know, Kevin says it's his show. She-Hulk says it's her show. Can we call it a legal comedy? Yes, if that's what you would want to, if that's what you want to call it. Let me have I've got my closing arguments. And Kevin's like, haha, I see what you did there. The MCU is always big on spectacle. The end, they all end pretty similar the same way. An unwritten rule. A big battle. This blood is similar to the super soldier serum. The story should be like my life was just falling apart as I was learning. My life just fell apart as I was learning to truly be both Jen and She-Hulk. Kevin's like, I'm processing this new data. What is the new ending you propose? And Kevin does say, he's like, we have this way of doing things, and it's been doing this for so long. We have some near perfect movies and storytelling, and she's like, near perfect, really? And he's like, some are better than others, but I leave that debate up for the internet. And that's one of my favorite things. But in her closing argument, she talks about the blood and the closeness of the superhero serum. She would rather her life, her life just fell apart as she was learning to deal with Jen and She-Hulk, processing the new data. Kevin's like, what's the ending you propose? She's like, Todd, no Hulk powers. No Bruce. He's like, but we need him to come back to say where he was and introduce. And she's like, she save it for the movie. And she was like, I would really like Abomination to hold himself accountable. And let's have a climax during the day. And I would like to see Daredevil again. A woman's got needs. And you've got all of these issues, it's all the same issues that you have. Daddy issues. Thor and Loki, the same daddy issues, Star-Lord, 2 daddy issues. And Kevin's like, please stop. Oh, are we sitting now? Oh, okay. When are we getting the X-Men? She's like, and gives a really awesome thumbs up and stuff. And then Jen's like, I also got some thoughts on season 2, and he's like, you will never be able to access Kevin again. There was an error in there was an error on the platform, and that is gone. And she's like, wait, why? You obliterated the ending Kevin came up with. She's like, yeah, I'm a Hulk. We smash endings, things, and, sometimes Matt Murdock. Haha. And then that was just so funny. We cut back then. She's back in the final thing. Todd, I am ready to deal with you. She goes from She-Hulk to Jen Walters on screen. Babe, I'll see you in court. Daredevil jumps down. Oh, did I miss everything? Yeah, you missed everything. It's okay. Emil Blonsky signs the paperwork that says he'll go back to jail for another 10 years or so. Then Jen has dinner with her family with Daredevil. He has his own practice in Hell's Kitchen. Expensive raising kids in LA. And he's like, whoa. And Daredevil was like, whoa, I didn't expect the conversation to be going that way. And her dad's like, every conversation is going that way. Her aunt Rebecca is like oddly hitting on Matt Murdock as well. Matt also calls in Jen for a co-counsel. Jen is, or Murdock is staying in LA for a week as opposed to just the night, and that's why he was able to be there because they did that nice little rewrite, which is great. I'm glad we were able to see Daredevil come back and whatnot. We do get Bruce though. He does come back, and he's like, "Hey everybody, I'm back. You know, I know it's been a while. We've got a lot to talk about since I've been away on Sakaar. But one thing I need you to do is I need to introduce you to my son Scar." So we get, Hulk's son Scar here, which we all know, World War Hulk, Planet Hulk, all of that. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be so great. That's what all of that's leading to. It's super sweet. So She-Hulk, after that family reunion with Hulk and his son, her nephew, She-Hulk is going into court for the lawsuit against Todd. Porter's talking to her and is like, and she basically says, if you break the law and you attack the innocent, I'm gonna come after you. And he's like, as a, in the courtroom or as a superhero? And she's like, both. And that's pretty great. And then we get the closing title sequence here with the song like Jump On It. And that's great. It's a great needle drop. All the needle drops have actually been pretty good throughout this show. I've really enjoyed like most of them. I thought they were just fun and they fit well with the show. The show has just been fun. I've just really liked it. The mid-credit scene. There is a mid-credit scene. Blonsky is taken by Wong, and Blonsky's like, "You're late." And he's like, "Did you get caught up in another show?" And he's like, "We really are in an era of peak television." And it's really great. They talk about a communal fridge, like how the food is like divvied up there, and then they also ask about Wi-Fi, and that's all really, it's awesome. I just love it so much. It's so good. It's so funny. This episode was really great. I thought this show was really awesome. I really enjoyed it. I found it to be extremely funny throughout, and I was just happy that I dug it. I enjoyed it all the way through. I thought the season-long tease of Daredevil was extremely funny to me in every capacity. It just made me laugh. I just found it extremely funny. And but I like Daredevil. I like seeing him in here. But I get it. This is She-Hulk's show, so the show was about She-Hulk, not Daredevil. Sorry, I'm not sorry. Uh, the show was good. I really liked it. I really love the MCU. I love DC as well. I'll stay as soon as they start popping out some new live action stuff as well. The DC end, I'll start getting back out here for commentary tracks for them as well. But in the meantime, I love She-Hulk season 1, Attorney at Law. I hope we get a She-Hulk season 2, Attorney at Law. I would assume that the rumor is that we'll see her show up in Captain America: New World Order. That's totally plausible. It depends. It's plausible that she shows up there for some legal advice for Captain America, Anthony Mackie, and Falcon and all of his crew and all that. Sure, totally plausible. I have no idea how any of that would work. Otherwise, maybe we'll see her show up in a season 2 next year or something. I'm not really sure, but I'm excited. I want to see more of She-Hulk. Tatiana Maslany is fantastic. I do agree the one thing that was completely unbelievable in this show is that nobody would want to date Jen Walters. I just don't buy that. I just didn't buy that. That's the only, out of everything I saw in this, that's the only thing that if I'm going to say overall that bothered me, It's probably that. But otherwise, I thought the show was really great. I really loved it. I want to see more She-Hulk. She-Hulk was really awesome. I like. I assume She-Hulk can probably show up in Fantastic Four as well. Uh, I don't know because like if there's a lab accident or something, it's very plausible that She-Hulk would show up in a legal capacity to defend or prosecute in that. So I don't know, but I'm excited for what the MCU has in its future for us. I'm Jimmy with the Triple C Collective. Thank you for joining me on Superhero Saturday, the season finale of She-Hulk episode 9. Whose show is this? I hope you all stay safe. Excelsior!